Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the Managing Director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. This video will briefly discuss bail and bail bonds in the context of criminal matters arising in the Kingdom of Thailand. To be clear, I'm the Managing Director of the firm here, but I'm an American attorney. I'm licensed in the United States. I am not a Thai attorney. We have Thai attorneys here on staff who assist in criminal matters. They assist in pleadings and bail bond matters, as well as criminal defense initiatives and assistance with basically dealing with the entire process that can arise as a result of an accusation and charge under the Thai Penal Code, under the Thai Criminal Code specifically. It should be noted that I come from an American perspective, so to be honest, it should be explained exactly what I mean by bail bondsman or bail bondsman and bail bond within the context of sort of the American legal system, and then to sort of compare that to the Thai legal system or to the Thai system over here, so that one can see that the system is somewhat similar, but in some ways very different. So in the United States, when I was still living in the United States, I did deal with some criminal matters that would arise there, and the issue of bail bonds is one. There are bail bondsmen in the United States, and unlike Thailand, such individuals and such entities, institutions, if you will, are sort of institutionalized within the American legal system. So bail bondsmen are sort of an integral part of the American criminal legal system. What does a bail bondsman do? Well, okay, let's say an individual has been accused of a crime. They go to their plea, they go to their first initial hearing. They plead, let's say in this instance, not guilty to whatever the crime is. And as part of that initial hearing, the judge, the hearing judge, oftentimes a magistrate in the federal system, will go ahead and make a determination as far as bail. Bail is essentially money that is put up in exchange for release of a given defendant, someone accused of a crime. So the judge or the court will basically go ahead and set a bail amount. Let's say, for example, the judge sets an amount at $10,000, and if the defendant can raise $10,000 and put it up as surety to the court that he or she will return to the court to face trial ultimately on the charges, then that individual will be released. And so long as that individual complies with the court's rulings and regulations in the lead up to the trial and actually appears at trial and at their hearings, or is excused for whatever reason from appearing, depending on the circumstances, eventually at the end of the trial, let's assume that the individual is found not guilty or the case is dismissed. So long as that individual has adhered to the court's rules, that individual's money will be returned to them. Now, in most situations, individuals are not going to be able to procure the amount of money that's required for bail. So in those circumstances, an individual that's known colloquially and professionally as a bail bondsman, that individual's services are procured. So the individual bail bondsman, so the individual that's been accused of the crime, he's got a $10,000 bail on him. He goes to his bail bondsman, and oftentimes he's able to produce some percentage of the bail, let's say 10%. If he can produce $1,000, hands it over to the bail bondsman. The bail bondsman then puts up his own $9,000 differential, or $10,000 total, to the court, and the court goes ahead and releases that individual. If the individual in question skips town or skips their bail and runs away from the court and doesn't reappear in court, then the bail bondsman has lost their $10,000. In the event that the individual does go through all the court proceedings and adheres to the requirements of the court, and proven guilty or innocent, whatever, at the end of the case, usually that percentage that the individual put up and gave to the bail bondsman, that will just be retained by the bail bondsman as that bail bondsman's fee for acting as the bondsman between the court and the individual who's been accused. In Thailand, bail is a frequent occurrence in many, many cases, especially some of the more minor offenses one can be accused of. In those instances, bail is not a particularly rare thing. In fact, it's quite a routine occurrence. You'll see bail issued or a bail order issued by the courts in preliminary matters. And so long as the individual who's being accused can put up the money for the bail, they'll be released. It should be noted that at present, at least at the time of this video, which is early January of 2017, in many cases, the policy argument behind bail is often the fact that many of the Thai prisons many of the Thai prisons as well as the Thai detention facilities are already basically at capacity. I won't necessarily go so far as to say as they are overcrowded, but they definitely are at capacity. And for that reason, if an individual can put up enough money to basically create a reasonable surety between the court and the individual, then it may be in the court's interest and in the country's interest to go ahead and grant that individual bail, especially if the accusation or offense in question is a relatively minor one. So in such circumstances, bail is often granted to individuals who've been accused of crimes here in Thailand. In a foreign context, one of the other things to keep in mind with respect to bail, as it pertains to foreign nationals accused in Thailand, is that there are immigration implications for those who are accused of crimes in Thailand. Most notably, what will often happen with foreign nationals accused of criminal activity in the kingdom is that if they make bail, their visa status will be changed from whatever visa status they were previously in to essentially sort of like a court appearance visa, where essentially their immigration status is basically pending final resolution of the proceeding that's been brought against them. So there is an immigration implication with respect to that. But with respect to bail, it's been my experience there's not really an institutionalized network of bail bondsmen, quote unquote, in Thailand. Mostly those sorts of matters are dealt with on an ad hoc basis. That being said, most foreign nationals in Thailand may find that most bail, especially for minor offenses or sort of more moderate, middle tier offenses, bail for such matters is going to be pretty reasonable, especially by international standards. So it's not impossible to foresee somebody being granted bail, and then oftentimes it's with the assistance of a Thai attorney. In some cases, the Thai attorneys will work with someone like myself, who will basically contact an individual's family abroad, go ahead and make arrangements for funds to be sent here to Thailand, and bail to be put up so that individual can be released. Again, bail is not it's not a get-out-of-jail-free card. Bail is granted as a surety that the individual is going to return to the court and face their charges and ultimately see to it that the ultimate adjudication of the matter is played out. But it can be very beneficial to a foreign national here in Thailand to not only have their Thai legal team, but to have someone who's versed in the American system to be able to sort of explain the context of what they're being accused of to sort of people that are outside of the country and may want to help them out, and also to have such an individual to be able to assist in the facilitation of getting funds here to the court so that bail can be put up, the surety can be sort of, for lack of a better term, locked in, and the individual can be released pending further appearances in the courts.